Good morning and welcome to Formula for Wealth. And my guest today is Tracey Smolinski. Tracey is the author of the book Master Networking. So welcome, Tracey.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much for inviting me on today. Really appreciate it.
I'm glad to have you here. You know, I was thinking this morning when I was getting ready for this, how many years have we actually known each other?
Wow, it's got to be at least 10 years?
It probably is. Yeah,
9 or 10 years? Yeah, I met you very early stages of when I set up Introbiz, which was back in 2009.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's around, 2011, 2012, I think, was when we
And
met.
then we did professional speakers together, didn't we?
That's right.
Yeah. And then we've sort of gone round full circle back to Introbiz, which is your networking business.
Absolutely, yes. And I love what I do.
And it's grown. I mean, it's quite phenomenal the way that it's actually grown, because you've built the brand in Wales.
Yeah.
But you're now in Sweden as well.
Yeah.
And you're moving into, I know England, Sweden. I think you were doing stuff in Spain this year. So it's quite phenomenal how the business has grown.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for me, when I first set up in 2009, I knew very little about business. But I've learned a lot over the years, and I've made a lot of mistakes. But I've obviously learned from those mistakes. And I always said to my kids, the bigger the mistake, the bigger the learn. So for me, it's been an incredible journey. But obviously I met my husband in 2010, Paul, and he came from a retail background and came into the business. I persuaded him finally to come into the business in 2012. So we've grown it together, basically. It's not just been myself. But I had this big vision from day one that I wanted to franchise my business and I wanted to take it global. But all those years ago when I first set up, people were saying to me, this is franchisable. I said, yes, I know, but I don't know enough about my business yet. I don't know enough about business to take it to the next level, to franchise it. So over the last 10 years, or 11 years now, we created the products and the brand. And I'm proud to say we obviously launched the franchise last year. So it took me 10 years to get there. But bearing in mind, I knew very little about business when I first started. We've come a long way, and I am super proud of that. And hopefully we'll go from strength to strength now, because obviously we're in Sweden, and obviously we've sold a franchise in West Wales. So I've got a global one and a local one. So that's good.
It's the expos that you do. I know it's the largest in Wales that you have, and you managed to get some really incredible speakers for those expos.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all based on relationships, I mean, people say to us now, we had Lord Sugar in 2018 and Grant Cardone, who's a billionaire in America. And, we've had Hilary DeVay, Sharon Lechter, who is our business mentor. And she's an incredible woman. And, we're doing some stuff with her going forward. And, the people that we've had is been absolutely super, because what we wanted to do as a business is when we did our expo, we really wanted to make a stamp in the business community to say, come to this. You'll learn, you'll be empowered, you'll network, and you'll grow. So it's all about growing for people. And we wanted to give people that inspiration that by coming to the Introbiz Expo, listening to all these super successful people, that they would, be inspired and learn and put those strategies in place for their business. So we wanted to make that difference to make people more successful in the business world,
And it's worked, doesn't it? Because, I mean, the numbers, the growth that you've had in the expos has just been phenomenal.
Oh yeah, and as I say, we just love what we do. And I think when you're passionate about something, and I'm always passionate about people, always have been. I was an only child growing up, and I was quite lonely as a kid. But although I say I was lonely, my mum always used to say, "Oh my God, I've got a car full of kids." When my father used to pick her up from school, pick her up from work in the school holidays, and she wished she had more kids. But my mum had a back issue years ago, so she couldn't, unfortunately. But I've always been surrounded by lots of people. And then obviously when I was 11 years of age, my parents set up their own pub. They bought their own pub. And I had loads of people in the living room downstairs in the pub. So from the age of 11, I had that passion to potentially work with people, So I think doing what I'm doing now came from the grounding of being in a pub and having that passion of having lots of people around me, I suppose is the corporate hospitality industry. It's in my blood.
I know that you've always liked Richard Branson. He's been like your hero. So was it December, you actually went to Necker Island and met him. That must have been an incredible experience for you.
Oh, it was insane. It was off the scale. And I can only say to people, if there's something in your life that you want, just go out there and make it happen for yourself, because I actually am a great believer of the law of attraction and the book, The Secret. Thank you, Rhonda Byrne, for doing that. And if I want something in my life, I like to put it out there. So I like to publicly announce to people, because then once you publicly announce to people that you want to do something or you want to deliver something, you're then committed that you've got to try and do it and make it happen for yourself. So if you do that, you are more likely, because you become more focused on what it is that you want to achieve. And obviously we got to go to Richard Branson's island, and 3.5 years ago, I'll never forget it, I stood up in the Marriott in the centre of Cardiff at one of my Introbiz events, and I said to the audience, I'd just been asked to be a judge on the pitch tour, which is his VOOM tour, you know, for obviously finding young entrepreneurs. And they had to pitch to the judges. One of those. And I said to everyone, I'm so proud to be working alongside Sir Richard's brand of the VOOM tour. I said, I don't know when and I don't know how, but one day Introbiz will take clients to Necker Island and we'll meet Richard Branson. And then 3 years later, it happened, you know, and that was based on building relationships with people and building up that trust, so that people then obviously pull you into their circle of friends, you know, and associates.
So as an investor, you've built a phenomenal brand with Introbiz, and it's still growing, and it's got a long way to go yet.
Oh, very long way.
But you've also a property investor as well.
Yes, I did. I started on my journey back the year before last, because I'd seen a lot of property entrepreneurs, you know, like yourself, Kevin Green, Sharon, Lechter, all these super successful millionaires had all invested in property. And I thought, you know, we got told this 8 years ago, or back in 2012, actually, when we saw Sharon Lechter speak in London and Kevin Green. And we wanted to do it then, but we had 4 kids living in the same house. We had a house that was, you know, fitted for 6 people. And at the time, it would have been too much of a traumatic experience to go sell in the house and try to do property investing. And we were trying to grow the business of Introbiz. So I think it's all about timing. We weren't ready to take that plunge. But then 3 years ago, we made the decision that we were going to take the plunge. So we put the house up for sale, the house, the family home, and obviously bought our first 2 holiday apartments in Saundersfoot, we live, which was also my vision board, to have a property down in Saundersfoot. So not only did we have a property in Saundersfoot, we then also added a load of value and spent a lot of money on it, but, you know, created a lot of profit on the back end. And now we're hopefully now going forward going to be renting. Well, we have started renting them out, but in this current climate, obviously that's put a stop to it at the minute. But for the future, you know, long-term investment is not a short-term win. It's a long-term vision that we have. That will be a cash cow for money coming in every month, because they're beautiful. We've done them out lovely, and they're literally 5 minutes up from the harbour and the beach. So, and it's dog friendly as well. So yeah, looking forward to renting those out and getting some money in for them.
How did you find the whole process?
Very stressful. You know, it's not easy. It's not, I would say it's not for everyone. But if you are looking to go into property investing, and you know, even if you run a business alongside it, it is, you know, it can take your focus. And that's one thing that we realize, because we've got a big brand and a big profile, but we're only a small team. And I was quite focused on doing stuff for the properties. Paul was focused in another part of the properties, and obviously we had Introbiz. And it did take a little bit of focus off Introbiz, because we were working on the stuff for the Saundersfoot property. So you can take your eye off the ball slightly for doing something, and you're focusing on 2 things, so you can't super focus on one thing. So I think it's all about timing and when you're ready to do it. So, you know, but it's been well worth it, and I don't regret ever doing what I'm doing, because I've learned from yourself, and Sharon, all these people, that, you know, property investing is the way forward. And I'm looking forward to building a portfolio of more properties over the next 3 years. You know, I'd like to have another 4 I think that's my goal, is have another 4 properties on top of what we have already. So exciting times ahead.
I actually find it interesting that you were prepared to sell the home you were living in to generate cash to make that move. So property was obviously a very key investment strategy for you. You've already mentioned, the people who've influenced you in doing that, but that step, overcoming the fear and actually selling the family home to raise the money, that must have been quite daunting.
It was, but it wasn't, because I 100% believed in what I was doing, and I knew that it was going to be successful because of all the people that we have around us who have done exactly that strategy. So for me, I suppose, before I'd started investing and I knew these strategies, it was the 6 years running up to knowing all this stuff and not doing it. I was frustrated because I wanted to do it, but it was a case of, well, I'm growing the business and I need to focus on that. I've got the 4 kids at home. And then obviously one by one, they started to leave. So now I've got 2 of them at home and 2 of them have left. So it made it a bit easier. But I just think sometimes you just got to do it, and just take that plunge and make it happen for yourself. Because if you never do it, it's better to do something, I believe, and to fail rather than never do something and never look back on your life. I always say this, never look back on your life and say, if only, or what if I'd done that? Never look back on your life and regret stuff that you've wanted to do that you don't end up doing. I think that's more of a bigger failure than anything, is you not taking action and not doing something.
Yeah, no, that's really wise, because I remember I was always a big fan of Elvis Presley. Right, from about the age of 6 or 7, and I had posters on the walls. Massive fan. And a friend and I, who was equally fanatical, we were going to go and see him in Las Vegas, and we'd saved the money for the tickets, we'd saved the money for the hotel. We'd made the decision, though, that if we waited another 12 months, we could have a whale of a time over there. And that was the year he died, and we never actually got to see him.
I know.
In concert.
I know.
And for me, that is the only regret, because that changed my life. I was 18 years old at the time, and that made for me the decision, if I want to do something, I'm going to absolutely go and do it.
Absolutely. And funnily enough, I think my dad, you're on about Elvis Presley, I grew up with Elvis Presley films, and I was totally infatuated with him. I loved him. And I think it's because my father looked a bit like him, because my dad was very dark. My dad was very handsome. I mean, obviously he's older now and he's a bit more wrinkly, but he's still a handsome man. He's quite distinguished looking. And, I actually say Elvis Presley is a mixture of my father and his brother, my Uncle John, who has passed away. And if you look at my Uncle John, he was a fatter, jollier version. And my dad obviously is slightly different. He was, people used to call him Pluto off Popeye because he had the dark hair, a big beard and moustache. But he's a handsome man. And when I looked at Elvis, I used to say to my dad, oh, you look a bit like him, and Uncle John looks a bit like him. If you mixed you 2 together, you'd be Elvis Presley, But my dad was a massive fan of Elvis, so I grew up with him through all, watching. I think I've watched nearly all his films, and oh my God, I loved him. I was totally infatuated with him. So I know what you're saying, and I wish I'd seen him live, but obviously I was a young girl when he died, and was not old enough to go to a concert. But my dad did go to Graceland. Because he was a fan, but he wasn't alive then, unfortunately. So my dad only went when he passed on. But yeah, I know that feeling. And as I say, never look back on your life and regret it. If you really want to do something, go with a gut and just say, let's do it, make it happen. You don't know how, but you put a plan in place and you can make things happen for yourself.
And that's one of the key things I know, especially like with my coaching that I do. The plan is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
You've got to, like you said earlier, the plan sets your intention. This is what you're going to do. And then it doesn't matter what you want to do in that plan, you will actually find a way of achieving it.
Absolutely. And, you've got to have, I think it's, my mum always used to say, funnily enough, she said, oh, you've always got to have something to look forward to. And I said, well, that's what life is. It's because I've always been very goal driven. I've always had goals in my life. I've always wanted to achieve more. I always wanted more, And you know, my mum used to chuckle at it, you know, and I said, well, that's what life is you know, reaching those new goals, because that gives me such a you know, a sense of achievement that I've really achieved something in my life, you know. And I think my biggest legacy that my biggest motivator, or this, I've got three, why I set up Introbiz. One was to leave a legacy to my children. Two was to create my own destiny and obviously, you know, be financially free. And three is to make a massive dent in that business community, to say, oh my God, I've really helped businesses. If it hadn't been for me, what if that wasn't created? What has Introbiz done for people, and who have they connected people to? Because as you know, we connect people to the right people.
Yeah. No. I want to go back to Sharon Lechter, because Sharon Lechter was a big influence. Sharon Lechter and Robert Kiyosaki wrote the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. And I think Sharon tends to get forgotten a little bit as the co-author of the books, but she did about 10 books with Robert before going into the Napoleon Hill Institute. Now, you said that you actually saw her in London. Why? What was it about her that made you think, I need her as a coach to move me forward?
Because I resonated with her and she had huge credibility. I heard her speak on stage. I could see that you know, she created the massive brand of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I think for me, there's loads of coaches out there, but I want somebody to coach me that is very purpose driven. And Sharon was very purpose driven to create financial freedom for everyone. And I think that was her message, was that she want, you know, why not? It was, you know, she always says the little sentence, if you want to do something, why not? Do it. Make it happen for yourself, you know? So I've got very much that same belief. And I think when you're looking for a coach, you want somebody who's been there, done it, and got the t-shirt, you know? There's loads of coaches in South Wales. I mean, you're my coach for money coaching, which is fantastic, because you've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt. You know, you've created your wealth, and you're still creating more wealth, which is amazing. And you're very passionate about teaching people how to create financial freedom, which is amazing. So you're very purpose driven. But I think when people want to make a difference in people's lives, if you're only there just to make money, yes, of course, we're all in business to make money, and to obviously by showing more people how to make more money, you'll make more money. And I understand that. But Sharon speaks from the heart. You speak from the heart, because you both want to make that difference in people's lives. So do I. So I think it's that alignment, that, you know, someone that you resonate with. I'm a great believer of people attract people. Nice people attract nice people. Takers attract takers. You know, bitchy people attract bitchy people, you know? Yeah. And I'm always going on about, surround yourself with a nice tribe of people. If you surround yourself with a nice tribe, you will attract, if you're nice to people and be kind to people, you will attract nice people that are kind, because that's your message, you know? Yeah. And a lot of people say when they come to Introbiz, oh, what a great tribe of people you've got, you know? And exactly, you know, exactly that. Just, we're all about helping and supporting each other. This is not a taking community. This is a giving community that want to help and support. And then you get people who are of the same mindset. Does that make sense?
It does, because yeah, I know we had a chat before we started recording this, and one of the things we were talking about then was that if you want to go somewhere in your life, you need to find the people who are there, the people who can influence you, can help you get there, and actually show you the way to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the things you've done. Like, you know, I've been on a webinar with you where you've had Sharon Lechter in the room, and she's talked to everybody. You've taken people out to Richard Branson's Necker Island, which has given those who want to advance to another level, it gives them the opportunity to step out and mix with people of the same.
Excuse me.
I can't think of the word actually that I want for that, but if you want to get somewhere in life, you need to find the people who are at the right level for you. And I know Introbiz does that. I think some people don't quite get that, but that is what Introbiz seems to be all about.
Yeah, and I think we're all about, it's creating an amazing experience. You know, I mean, we're having a new website built at the moment, and you know, our new strapline is going to be creating and connecting communities for global opportunities, because we always try and say to people, I say, if you're going to do something, just go big. I know there's a lot of people out there that might not like that, and they want to stay in their comfort zone and they want to be small, and that's fine. It's not for everyone. But for me, I've always been, you know, my friends always said to me, oh my God, I knew you'd do something like this with a networking company with people, because you've always loved people. You know, I used to do curry nights in my house with girlfriends when my husband was away, you know. So, you know, they all knew that I'd bring my friends together, because a lot of girls like maybe don't want to mix their friendships, but I've never been that way. I've always liked to mix friendships and then become friends with my other friends, you know. And there's some girls that like to make that, oh, they want to be the best friend, or, you know. But I always say it's about giving and sharing, and, you know, share the love and, you know, spread the connectivity between people, you know. So I've always been that way, because I think maybe it stems back from me being an only child and wanting to have a brother or sister and having lots of people around me, you know. And that's what I've implemented that into my business. That's part of my DNA in Introbiz, that we're all about connecting people and obviously putting people with the right people, you know, and taking them on a wonderful journey and creating experiences for them so that they grow exponentially, you know. That's what it's about. If other people grow, I'm happy.
So on your investment journey, we've got a phenomenal brand that's growing business-wise. I always talk about the 4 categories. We have business, property, paper investments, which are shares and bonds, and bullion investing. Now, you've built the business, well, you're still growing the business. It's got quite a way to still go. Yeah, and you know, the steps you've taken are quite phenomenal on that.
Thank you.
You're growing the property portfolio.
Yeah.
What next, investment-wise?
Well, obviously we've just started in forex, so we've invested into Cash FX, which is a brilliant system. The artificial intelligence behind that is incredible. It's a multi-level marketing company, but it's also making money with foreign trading. But obviously, when you introduce people to it, you get 15% commission on whatever someone else invests, which is brilliant, because it's creating more money for everybody. And at the moment, you're not getting much if you put it in the building society or the bank. And this is obviously making more money with that. You get paid every Saturday. Yes, they take a commission from what you've earned, but obviously that's the model of the business. But it's earning us money every week, which is fabulous. You know, I can see that growing. We've obviously invested in bullion with yourself. We're buying gold and silver, which is also good. So we're investing in that. And I think you've got to start looking at not investing just in one thing, you know, spread the love and spread your investments in a few different things. You've got to diversify and think of ways that you're going to earn money, but obviously learn of how to do that. And this is why I took you on as a coach, so that you can teach me the strategies, and that, you know, having a coach, I think, is so important. Everybody, I think, should have a coach. And for those coaches that say they don't have a coach, that's crazy, because I think we can all have a coach, because it's always good to bounce ideas and you know, get that sort of help and support of somebody else that maybe you're not sure on an idea of something, whereas you've got somebody to go to that you can trust and you know that's going to help you because they've already been there and they've got that journey done. You know, that's only going to benefit your business and in your life. So we've got foreign trading, we've got bullion, we've got the property, we've got the business. I do want to start investing in shares now. I've not done my share account yet, Karen, so I do that. I think, you know, I think sometimes you can be so busy doing stuff. And obviously at the minute, I'm working on the training academy. I've just launched Introbiz Training Academy, because I've wanted to do online training for 4 years. And we talked earlier on, I did a go-to webinar 4 years ago. The system crashed. I never went back to it because I was fearful of tech. So anyone that's listening today, if you're fearful of something, just do it, because had I not been fearful of the tech, and I would have done my online training and continue to do my online training, my business would probably have been a different model now in this current climate, because everyone's doing stuff online. And I probably would have been a lot more established in my business, and that would have been a bigger opportunity when we're ready. Whereas now this is just the start of my journey for the online stuff. So don't be fearful of anything. Just bite the bullet and go for it. And I wish that's my biggest regret is I haven't done, I didn't embrace the technology because I'm a bit of I'm not very good at tech.
One of the things that's been really interesting is you very quickly adapted. Introbiz is it's all meetings. You hold them in some phenomenal places. The word phenomenal comes up a lot in this today because it is the business, the locations, the way everything's done with Introbiz is at a totally different level to other networking businesses that have been in. And I noticed very quickly that as soon as the UK went into lockdown, you very quickly found a way of networking online.
Absolutely. Well, you have to, because, the biggest thing that I realized was as soon as that happened, we knew we had to still serve our clients in some way, because we're an annual membership. People had paid us their hard-earned money to invest in us. So it was my duty to make sure that we were still adding value and providing a service to our clients, because there is no way, if somebody invests in me, if I say I will do something, I will do it. And if I make a mistake, I own up to it and say, right, let's try and sort it out. So I'm a great believer of, if somebody invests in me, I have to deliver, because for me, that's not resonating with me for my clients. I like to under-promise and over-deliver as much as I possibly can. So you have to change. And I think businesses, I feel so sorry for those restaurants and the hotels and those types of companies, like the hairdressers and the barbers and the service-based businesses that have literally had to shut down and they can't do anything. They can't change their business, which is so sad, because they're super successful people. And there's a lot more businesses out there are even more super successful than we are. But, we were fortunate enough that we could still do what we do as a business online. So we were very, very lucky. And I feel very grateful that we had that opportunity to still serve our clients, which was amazing. And we'll continue to do so online, because even when we get out of lockdown in this current climate, I'm absolutely loving the online community. I love it. And, we can reach more people now. So yeah, I'm super excited for the future, and obviously for the training academy as well.
It's quite interesting, because I was on the very first Zoom call that you did, and you had one of your office ladies on there, and she was telling you, push this button, push that, do this, for the very first meeting. And then today, and I mean, that's only a few weeks ago, and today you're telling me that you're giving your husband and your daughter a crash course on how to use Zoom. So,
well, not Carly, but Paul, yeah. Exactly, because he relied on me doing it.
But it shows how quickly and how easy it is to actually adapt when you have to.
Of course it is. And I think I've been putting out a lot of positive messages on my Facebook, because obviously there's a lot of people who are scared, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and people are negative, or they're scared, or they're fearful. And at the end of the day, you have to adapt, you have to change, and through every adversity, there's always opportunities. This is what I say. So for us as a business, I saw the coronavirus, this is our opportunity now to be doing our online training. This is the time that we can do the online networking. So many companies have said to me over the years, oh, if only Introbiz, if only you were in London, if only you were in Manchester and Birmingham and all these places. Well, we can be now, because we can be online, so people can reach Introbiz far easier now than they ever could before. So I think that's going to be a positive for our business, and we can definitely reach more people. So yeah, really excited for the future.
Yeah, to me, there's just it's just phenomenal, because I know, like our training group, people were reluctant to actually do anything online, and I have a few training groups where they've been reluctant to go online. So I've held a classroom environment, but now they're saying to me, "Oh, I love this online. I'm much preferring this online and seeing more opportunities." And it doesn't take so much of the time out of your day.
Absolutely. And, and this is what I put up on Facebook the other week. And I actually said to people, people were all saying, oh my God, this is crazy. Oh, working from home is a nightmare. And I actually put a post up saying, actually, in a few months' time, when we are out of lockdown, I guarantee you a load of you out there will be missing working from home, missing spending time with the family,
Yeah.
and getting back into that rat race of driving to and fro, you know, to the office and all that traveling and commuting time. And I actually said, I think things are going to change and people are going to work in a different, smarter way, because so many times, you know, people drive the M4, say for Cardiff, London, or jump on a train 2 hours up there. And okay, a lot of people can work on the train when they're not driving, and I get that. But, you know, it's time, it's costing a lot of time, and time is money. You know, we are trading time for money. So the job of of an entrepreneur is to make sure that they earn as much money in an hour that they possibly can. And if you're traveling up and for the M4, you know, at the M4 or on the motorway on the M5, you're not having as much time to be able to do what you need to do. So I think there will be a massive new way of working, and you will see less cars on the road, which is obviously better for the planet as well.
Yeah. Right, your book, Master Networking.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, basically, when I obviously met Sharon in 2012 and heard her speak on stage in London with Kevin Green, because she resonated with me so much, I think it was in 2014, 2015, I had an inbox on LinkedIn from Sharon. It was probably from her team, because she probably didn't do it herself. But she was saying that she was looking to mentor people. And I thought, oh my God, this would be a massive opportunity. And I went upon, I said, oh my God, I've just had this email come through on LinkedIn. Remember that lady, Sharon Lechter? You know, we'd never forgotten her. And, you know, we'd stayed in, you know, we connected with her on the day, and we swapped email addresses and one thing and the other. And we'd connected on LinkedIn. I said, oh my God, wouldn't it be so good if we could have her as our mentor? And it would be even more amazing if we could get her to come to the UK, because she lives in Arizona, in Phoenix, or Phoenix in Arizona, I should say. Wouldn't it be amazing if she could come over and speak and inspire the audience? You know, so that was my two biggest excitement things, really. So it was a lot of money to invest in Sharon. And at the time, we didn't have the money, but we found a way. So we took Sharon on board as our mentor. We reached out to her and said, yes, we'd love you to mentor us. We obviously chatted to her and we started the program. And obviously, the more she started to get to know us, I'd done quite a few. I'd started to write a book about 2 years previous, but I was never a big writer at all, you know. And I always thought when I first started writing that, oh my God, if I put this book out, because I wanted to do a book, but I didn't have, I had that imposter syndrome, thinking, would people think it was a load of waffle, you know? And when I spoke to Sharon about it and she started mentoring us, she went, you need to put your book out, because she said that will raise your profile. It will give you more credibility. You become the expert in your field about networking, if that's what you love. And, you know, it reaches more people, and also it helps more people. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh my God, yeah. So, you know, the fact that it would make a difference to people's lives if I could put something out was of good value and good content that people could learn from. So I was fortunate enough that she made me accountable every month and said, right, what have you done on your book? Oh, I've done, you know, and if I'd gone to her the next month saying I've done nothing, how embarrassing would have that been? So she made me accountable every month, and she motivated me to get my book finished. And so much so, obviously on the front cover, she actually she put a quote on there for me, very, very kind of her, but she also helped me to edit it as well. So I had one of the best authors in the world that, you know, I'm proud to call my mentor. And she also helped me, she read through my book and edited it, because, you know, she's obviously so much better at that than me. So I learned a lot from her, and I'm super, super grateful what she did for us. And we're in talks with her at the moment about doing some more stuff together. So it's
I'm just reading what she put on the cover. She says, Tracey shares the secrets to building business relationships that really work and last.
And that's what it is, you know, it is all about lasting relationships, not just relationships for the sake of relationships.
What do you see as, I know this is 10 steps, I put that up so people can see it. It says 10 steps. Pick one. What do you think is one of the most important steps out there to building your networking?
The biggest thing for me, and I always say this, is it's always about other people and how you can add value to them and how you can help solve their problem or serve their need. So always focus on them, your client or your potential client, that it's, you know, Introbiz is never ever about me, and get rid of that ego. It's not about egos. It's not about anything else rather than serving your client. So you need to find out who your client is, who you're attracting, who you want as your client, and how you can add value to them. And you get that across in your message of it's all about them, and find out lots of information about them to see how you can help them further. That's the biggest thing. And never judge a book by its cover, because you never know.
And you always say, every time you finish a meeting, you say,
follow up. Yeah. So that's the biggest three, I think, is it's always about other people. Never judge a book because you don't know who you're talking to, because, you know, who would have thought little old me would have got to Necker Island with Sir Richard? And that was through connections, based on connections and those people liking me and trusting in me to be introduced to the right people. And obviously it got us to Necker Island from that. And obviously always follow up with people. You know, wherever you go, carry your business cards, because you never know who you're going to bump into. I've picked up new members in a garage when I was filling up with petrol, bumping into people, in a queue, in the bank. You know, literally anywhere and everywhere is a networking opportunity. So always carry your business cards so that you can reach out to people, and always ask for their business cards so that you've got, you know, you're building your network, and follow up with those people. Because obviously if you don't follow up and you take action, you go to a networking event, you've taken time out of your day to be there. What's the point in going if you're not going to follow up with people? And a lot of people make that mistake, and they just put the business cards in a drawer and they carry on. What's the point of that?
You said that when you started Introbiz, there was a lack of business knowledge.
Yeah.
And you had to learn business, right? And you've found coaches, you've got coaches to help you build your business. And I know it's one thing that I see, I've seen people say, and I'm one of those that says, yes, even I'm a coach and I have to have a coach to help me grow. But for someone who is just starting a business, what are the tips that you would tell them? What are the key things that you learned building a business?
Well, to find a coach?
Well, I know we've got coaching, but also learning to build a business.
Okay, yeah, well, you're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way, but what I suggest you do is find the right people around you, that you can resonate with, because you've got to be able to like somebody and start building the relationship. So the first thing to do is obviously go out networking. And I will say that, I know, not just because I'm a networking company, but even if I had another business and I sold Introbiz and it wasn't anything to do with networking, obviously your network is your net worth. So you start building your network and going out being visible. But obviously, you know, with your gut instinct, who the types of people that you want to stick around with. You'll meet lots of people out there, and you'll probably meet out of 100 people, you might resonate with 15, 20 of them. You might resonate with all of them. I don't know, but you're not going to resonate with everybody. But it's surrounding yourself with the right people that can help you on your journey. And a way of doing that, if you don't have the money to take on a coach, is what can you do for them? Mm-hmm. So say to people, if you meet somebody, so say for instance, somebody met you, Karen, and they couldn't afford you coaching. If I was in a position where I couldn't afford anything to buy off you, I would be saying to you right now, what can I do to help you, Karen, grow your business? Because I might not have loads of cash, but I know a lot of people.
And bartering is something, I call that bartering, and it's something, especially during the lockdown when people have not got the money. I've seen a lot of it going on, and it benefits both people. And I know that during 2008, when we had the credit crunch, there was a massive amount of bartering went on. I'll help you do this if you help me do that.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Yeah.
No, it kept a lot of people going, and I think the same is coming now, and I'm seeing that during the lockdown, a lot of you help me and I'll help you sort of a thing. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
You've got a team of people that work at Introbiz. How did you find handling staff?
It's not easy, obviously handling staff. I mean, I'm very good with the staff. I give them the freedom to succeed, so I don't try and take full control. Excuse me a sec. Excuse me. But I think the hardest people to employ is salespeople, because you're passionate about your own business, but are other people as passionate about it as you? So I think what you have to do is to create a culture where people are motivated, that they want to come to work every day. So one of the questions I do ask my people when I interview them is, what are your goals? What are your values? Where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years, for instance? Because I want to take you on that journey. I want to be able to grow my company so that I can make you grow along the way. So for instance, Emma has been with me for 6 years, and she's now going off on maternity leave now at the end of June. So we're going to miss her massively, because she's a wonderful asset to the team. So Emma started off on a small salary, obviously doing an assistant's job. She's now my editor of the magazine. She is my key content writer. She's my project manager. She's amazing at what she does. And her salary is obviously a lot more than what she was on. Because for us, when we're all entrepreneurs, people who own their businesses, and to employ people, there's a lot of millennials out there now that want a side hustle, or they want to do something for themselves, and that's great. So it's like asking them what their goals are. Now, there's a lot of people out there that don't want to run their own companies because they've got no motivation to do that, or they may be scared of doing that. So it's, again, going back to what I say about what can you do for them. When you employ people, you've got to think, well, it's not just about what they can do for me, it's helping them go along their journey and to see how you can help them grow. Because if you can embrace that with them and take them on a journey of self-development and self-growth as a team member, that's just as motivating for somebody that potentially wants to set up their own business, that you're growing your business, not just for ourselves and our own growth and money. We're taking people on a journey that they want to be a part of. So it's just creating that culture that people are motivated to get up out of bed every morning.
Yeah.
And obviously Carly's working for me as well. So, and Carly's doing really, really well. I'm really proud of what she's doing. And obviously I'm taking her along the journey, and she loves it most of the time.
I remember a business that my husband and I had in New Zealand, and Ron was the salesman, and he had what I call a 98% strike rate. So we put quotes out, 98% of the quotes that went out, he would convert into sales. And then we took on a sales team. And with the sales team, the sales actually dropped, the ratio dropped quite phenomenally. And I thought, this isn't good. I then bought a coaching to work with the salespeople. And he said to me, you've got an absolutely incredible sales team. I said, yeah, but my husband does 98%. He said, well, that's unreal. Nobody does 98%. He said, you've got a phenomenal sales team there. Yeah. And it was just, I'd never had a different benchmark to actually work against. I'd only seen my husband as a salesperson.
Yeah, of course.
And I tell that story because you just mentioned how difficult it is to work with salespeople. And your husband's a salesperson, so he'll probably be the same as my husband. And because it's his business, he'll be phenomenal at putting deals together and getting the contracts in the sales field.
Yeah, indeed. And it is, it's not easy to, and I think a lot of people find that they have, they have an issue trying to get good salespeople who are motivated enough. And I don't think you'll ever have anyone who's as motivated as you are in your own business. No one will love your baby as much as you do, So you have got to accept that in your business and realize that not everyone is going to be as passionate about it as you. But as long as you've got people who are on the same journey as you, and you take them on a journey for their needs, then that's good. And it's like, as Sir Richard Branson says, take on people that never want to leave you. They always want to work for you. Treat them right, and they'll stay and work for you.
Well, we're coming to the end now. I'm going to close the recording down shortly. But I know that you've mentioned a few times you are working on a new book. When are we going to see that?
Um, I've probably done about 8 to 9,000 words at the moment. So I've probably got, I mean, yes, I could make it a slightly smaller book, and it doesn't have to be 40,000 words, but I'd like to make it so that it's a substantial book that people can read. And it is, I'm thinking of calling it Network into Necker Island, because I came from my kitchen table, setting up my business, and then little old me from Cardiff has ended up on Necker Island 10 years later. So yeah, so I'm, I want to share people the journey, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. And a lot of people have this barrier, or this, this top level that they can't be any more than they think they can be. And people have, they put a lid on themselves, and you need to take that lid off and say, actually, I can do this, and give the belief in yourself. But then you've got to put strategies in place to make things happen for yourself. So it's not just going to happen. So what I say about the law of attraction, I expect everyone in the world would say, I'd love to be a millionaire. But obviously, if you don't take action and you don't do things, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So the law of attraction only works. It's not just by wishing, which is a lot of people do. It's about, goals. People have dreams, and there's a difference between a dream and a goal. The dream is the dream where people just talk about it, but the goal is where you put the action plan in place to make that goal happen.
So that's what the book's going to be about, doing the steps to get you there. And one of the things you mentioned earlier was imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I see quite a lot. And I don't think it matters how successful you are or where you are. You will sometimes find yourself in a situation where you think, should I actually be here? Should I be part of this? It's, I remember quite a few years ago, Michael Schumacher was always one of my heroes, and I left Formula One, and I got to go and have dinner with him, and I took a Ferrari, because I have a Ferrari, and I took a Ferrari down. Yeah. And I was sat around this table, and I thought, I've done really good. I'm in this niche of people. And yet when I started talking to someone, I was there with my Ferrari, and my husband and I were there with our Ferrari, I should say. But the person on the table had, another person had 13, and another one had like 15 cars, and another one had 20 cars, and you're thinking, well, I've got one, am I the imposter that's here? But you forget how successful you've actually been to get where you are.
Yeah.
And I think that the imposter syndrome is something that everybody has to try and overcome.
Absolutely. I had massive I had imposter syndrome on Necker Island, because there was all these billionaires and multi-millionaires, and then there was Paul and I, and you think, wow, how did we get here? This is insane, that we're actually standing here, and we're in the pool with Sir Richard right next to me, and it's like, how the heck did I get here? But we might not be rich in the bank, but we're rich in relationships. And this is what I say to people. We've got, and it's how you define success and how you define richness. And, we've got very enriching relationships with people. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is far more, that's far more motivating for me. Yes, of course, I want to earn more money. We all do. But I think the fact that I've got those relationships, the money will follow eventually anyway. And
it already is. Look at the investments you've already done.
Yeah, but like as I say, it's, compared to a lot of other people, I'm nowhere near at the stage where I'm mixing with all these people who are billionaires. And, there was Donald Trump's neighbors there on Necker Island. It was an incredible network of people who were multi-millionaires and billionaires, Mm-hmm. But they were nice people, and that was the nice thing about it, was they were really nice people. And he's got a great tribe of people around him,
So as a wind up now, what advice would you like to give to anyone before we wind up?
I think, what I've talked about all the way through is get out there and network with people, connect with people. Look, there's nothing more powerful than looking someone in the eye and showing an interest in other people. trust in other people and you start to ask questions about them, because let's be honest, everybody wants to talk. Everyone wants to talk about themselves. But once you start asking about other people, you get a feel for what they're about, and you never know where that opportunity is going to take you. And if you focus on other people and not yourself, other people will be gravitated towards you because you're there as a helping support. You know, it's the same what my good friend and I, Dawn from Ajuda, we've created a women's platform, Inspirational Women of the World, on Facebook. Ladies out there, if you want to come and join it, it's a fabulous community. It's a positive environment. I know you're there as well, Karen. Is surround yourself with nice people. Surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up, not pull you down, because there's enough shysters out there, believe you and me. There's always people out there that want to pull you down, and there's jealous people, or there's the naysayers, or there's people in your local area that say, what's she doing, or what's he doing, you know, and they look down at you and they want to stop you from succeeding. We're not about that. We're all about helping people and lifting people up and gearing them towards confidence and lack of fear, and get out there and make it happen for yourself. And, you know, if you want something in your life, never look back on your life and regret it. Never look back on your life and say, if only, or what if I'd done that? Just do it. As Sharon says, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So people can connect with you on Facebook.
Yes.
I know you've got the Facebook group Financial Freedom.
Yes.
And you've got Inspiring Women of the World. And Introbiz, that's also available on Facebook.
A few groups on Introbiz on Facebook. I've also got Introbiz Training Academy, which I've just set up, but I've only set that up for people who are coming on my mentoring and training. So that's a private group for my mentees to come in and network with each other. And obviously I can put up regular posts, and that's obviously private for the people that have invested in me. But yeah, so we've got a few groups on the go at the moment, so it's all good.
So connect with you on social media. That's the best way to get hold of you.
Absolutely. And I'm always very approachable.
Tracey, it's been lovely chatting to you.
And
so thank you very much for coming on here. A wealth of knowledge for anybody who's an investor, building businesses, building the connections, and get property investing as well. So Tracey, you and I chat, and we can chat for hours and hours. So it's just really great having you on here. So thank you very much.
And thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And anybody that wants to look at property investing or investing in yourself, speak to Karen Newton, because she's also too a wealth of knowledge, and you're phenomenal. So have huge respect for you, Karen. So yeah, reach out to Karen.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah, you too, Tracey. Thank you.